Dear students, let us start the discussion on 2nd March 2016 newspaper. Now, a small announcement for you. I am going to correct the answers from today. I request you to write down the answers for the questions. Now, coming to the universal health coverage, you all know that India suffers from lack of access to health, and out-of-pocket expenditure in India is high with regard to the curative care is concerned, and there is no enough focus on the preventive care. So in this context, the present budget provides for 1 lakh rupees of insurance coverage to the healthcare problems, and it also brings in a protection or dialysis care units for the people suffering from kidney failures. Though these are the positive steps, to what extent they can be successful? Now, if you take the existing cost of the healthcare in India, 1 lakh rupees appears to be too less. This 1 lakh rupees can be effective only in certain circumstances. Let us take the Japanese example and Tamil Nadu example, where there was a universal access to healthcare created, and then government has specifically fixed what will be the cost to the various types of diseases. And finally, the quality of healthcare is ensured through proper overseeing mechanism. So quality, access and prices, all these are properly ensured. Then only this program will be successful. If not, the private hospitals, they go for excessive treatment and this unnecessarily increase the pocket or burden on the citizens. Now, how the insurance system works? You pay the premiums, and in return to that, the insurer provides you the services, guarantees you the services. It means some 1,000 people are paying the premium and 10 people are using the insurance. Then this program works. But if 1,000 people are paying the premiums and 500 people want the access to the insurance, automatically it is bound to be a failure. In India, young people who have got the less health risk are not interested to take the premiums. On the other hand, old people are major users of the insurance plans and also the payers of the premiums. So it means in a scenario B, automatically the cost of insurance premium is bound to increase. So in India, unless we bring in universalization of the healthcare, where all the citizens comes under the insurance network, the program cannot be successful. So India has to learn from these experiments before taking forward. And on the other hand, so the insurance can only work for the curative care. Then what about the preventive care? In India, there is no proper stress on the preventive care. We all know that we have communicable diseases and non-communicable diseases both prevailing. So, and India is a capital for diabetes and hypertension now. So, in this nutritional transition era, India shall focus on the change of lifestyle, etc. So, what we need is a strong emphasis on the preventive health care too. And next is looking beyond economic quick fixes. And again, the globe appears to be on a second round of recession now. And from the 2008 to 2013, we saw some improvement. From 2013-14 onwards, we are seeing a fall back again. So in this context, what shall be the reaction of the world? If you remember the Raghuram Rajan's words, the monetary policy has played its session. It is the time for the fiscal policy. And the same was also reiterated by the IMF. It is the fiscal policy which has to take up the creation of the demand. It shall become the engine of the growth. But however, the differences exist across the countries. Now, Germany talks about restructuring. United States, it still depends upon monetary policy, where it is tapering has got huge adversarial effects on the developing countries, the monetary tapering. So in this context, there is one thing on which all the people are unanimously agreeing. There shall not be competitive devaluation of the currency to promote the exports. China To promote the exports, it has devalued its yuan by 4%, which has created the ripples across the stock exchanges and volatility in the markets. So, the world shall not look for quick fix like currency value devaluation, which can harm the entire economic system of the world. Rather than it has to go for more constructive coordinated action that shall be the agenda for the upcoming Shanghai session. China is about to lay off 5 to 6 billion workers. Communism is good till everyone has a job. And communism or any authoritarian government is bad when the people suffer from hunger. It means that China has created huge capacities and raised the economic wealth of the country. Now, in this context, the China did not create the local demand and it is mostly an export driven market. And the banking structure is also not very stable in China. So in this context, the overcapacities in the existing economic downturn situation has created a volatile situation. Now the government wants to lay off 5 to 6 million workers. So in this context, to control the unrest or dissent that may grow, the government has allocated 150 billion yuan to provide for the social safety net for the retrenched employees. Next is Employee Provident Fund. Here we need to differentiate between EPF, National Pension Scheme, and GPF, General Provident Fund. The GPF is for the government employees and EPF is for the private sector employees. NPS can be chosen by anyone. Now, in the GPF, employee is the contributor. In the Employee Provident Fund, the employer is the contributor. So in this case, Employee Provident Fund, it is non-taxable till date, and GPF even non-taxable today. In the budget, EPF, it provides for something called as a taxation on greater than 60%, on 60% of the withdrawals of their money. Previously, EPF is based on exempt, exempt, and exempt. So, even at the level of the withdrawals, at the level of the income, and at the level of the stocking or the restoring the fund, at every level there is no taxation. Now we want to shift this to EET, exempt, exempt, and taxation regime. So in this case, what the National Pension Scheme does, understand EPF, it is mostly invests in the most secured investments such as government securities, and it appears that government is backing the EPF. On the other hand, NPS, it provides for multiple options and flexibility to the customers. Now you can choose the equity proportion in that, which will be invested in the stock exchanges, so that the returns on NPS can also be high, and it can also be used for the deepening of the investment climate in the country. Now, as EPF is totally tax free and NPS is not, so the people are more interested in invest in EPF rather than in the other funds. So in this context, government wants to discourage the investment in EPF, shift it on to the other choices too. And also at the retirement, the government wants the people to use their EPF into the annuity funds, which can serve them as the protection during the old age. This is what is the purpose for introduction of tax on the 60% of the withdrawals. But however, there is a general resentment in the middle class. Now in this case, you need to be clarified that any person earning greater than 15,000 rupees, these only come under the EPF net. And employer wants to pay for everyone, yes, he can pay for. But greater than 15,000 salary, yes, it is mandatory to pay for the Employee Provident Fund. So in this case, the government started moving back on its tax proposal, and it is saying now that only the interest which is earned on the EPF will be taxed. Now coming to the idea of nationalism. Now, nation is a collective identity of the people living in a common boundary. Now, various symbols, the national flag, anthem, all these things, they have come into existence just to provide a strong emotional bonding across the people having different personal identities. So in this context, the objective of the nation is to provide for an equal expression for all the identities which are there. So, generally surrounding these symbols, there may be huge emotional attachment to the people. So, many of the political parties may exploit this emotional attachment for their political gains. So, in this context, the nation as an idea is more concerned with the identity of the people and their cultural and collective living. So, any person who is contradicting this particular idea of the nation or a particular symbol of the nation, generally he is seen as a deviant. So, it squarely falls into against to the very way of functioning of the university. In a university, our objective is for critical thinking, question the existing status. So, in these circumstances, the conservative mind outside the university and the radical critical thinking within the university, they may come in conflict with each other. So, that may very much explain whatever is happening in the JNU, Aligarh University, HCU, etc. now. And added to that, the reservations has provided for more inclusive climate in the university where the people from scheduled caste and scheduled tribes are given more representation in the admissions. It has also questioned the status quoism, elitism that was prevailing in the universities, and it also is the reason for the existing friction. So now, if you go to the Romilla Thapper's article, what she said is, the nationalism is not a set of few symbols. The nationalism is an identity which is primarily centered around the citizenship. So this identity cannot be reduced to a much smaller identity such as religion, caste, etc. So the citizenship is providing for the equal rights to all the citizens, and reduction of this idea of the citizenship itself is going to make the nation to become vulnerable towards the divisive tendencies. These are the articles for today. Thank you very much. I request you to write the answers, and I have become a bit lazy, then I'm going to give those answers, or evaluate those answers from today. And the second thing is, and I'm going to provide you for this topic wise videos very soon. So let us start these things. And ARC report today, I'm going to give you 1 or 2 videos, and it's a promise. Thank you very much.